Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today's the 24th of January 2020, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets. And we do have a few instruments for you with interesting setups. And we'll have a look at those quickly. Before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, also, just before we jump in, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. So feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there. But right now, guys, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the chart on DAX. So I looked at this one yesterday in my traders espresso as well. Basically what I was saying that yesterday, if we see a drop below the 13,443, then yes, there is a good possibility for this one to drift lower. Of course, we'll be very careful and cautious, and we could see this one sliding towards the 13,334 mark, or even towards this medium-term upside support line taken from the low of the 15th of August. Now, that said, looking at the cash index right now, we can see that we did get a boost and we did get a jump back above this barrier, back above the 13,443. So we're currently seeing that the index is balancing near the 13,500 zone. So basically, it's just, if we zoom in here, it's around here, basically just slightly above its 20 SMA inside a Bollinger Band on the 4-hour chart here, and slightly above the 21 EMA. Now, that said, again, guys, for now, be very careful. And as I mentioned previously, still for us to get excited about, let's say, the upside again, well, at this point in time, we'll wait for a break above the all-time high here near the 13,640, and only then aim for further upside. For now, even if we see a push towards this 13,600 level, we'll still remain somewhat neutral. We'll be very careful, just like I said, because we'd like to see a push above the 13,640 before examining further upside. Until then, we'll be very careful and cautious, guys. For now, like I said, keep your eyes on this one. Still, there is a chance for this one to drift back down, but again, given that the price is right now back above the 13,443, we'll keep an eye on this one again. If we see another slide below this, then yes, we will aim for this upside support line. Now, jumping into a few other instruments, and this one here is the commodity, the precious metal, silver. I talked about silver recently as well. And basically what I was saying, or should I say yesterday in my traders tea time, I spoke about silver. I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on some of these levels. For now, we're probably more neutral because we can see that the price action is currently stuck inside this little range here within the bigger range. So basically, for us to consider the downside, we would need to see a nice good break, and ideally a close of a 4-hour candle, at least a 4-hour candle below the 17.65 level before considering the downside, because as you can see, we did have those breaks, but we never had a close of at least of a 4-hour candle below this level. So that's why this area is quite an interesting one to watch. And if we do get that close of a 4-hour candle, then yes, we'll of course still be very careful, because ideally we would prefer to see a daily close, but nevertheless, we'll start considering the downside if we get a close of a 4-hour candle below the 17.65 zone, and then yes, we will aim for further declines. We'll only aim up until the 17.30, roughly around here, this territory, and then we'll take it from there. With the upside, yes, we need to see a push above the 17.85 zone in order to consider a possible move back towards the upper bound of this wider range here, which is roughly around the 18.15 zone. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Could be quite an interesting trade, but again, don't forget to have your stop loss in place. WTI oil. Now, I talked about this one yesterday in my traders Espresso, and basically what I was talking about, guys, here was the fact that if the fact that we may see a further drift lower, and look at this perfect touch, look at this perfect hit of all these support areas that I was talking about, and then we saw a nice rebound from this 54.83 zone, and which is still the low of the 20th of November last year, and now we're seeing a nice rebound and a push back to the upside. So that worked out just perfectly. So if you manage to capture something here, if you manage to enter here, then well, you probably are enjoying right now. The only problem here, of course, with the upside is that it might get limited near this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 7th of January. So in a way, for now, in a way, how you could look at it is that if the price remains below this downside line, still the likelihood for this one to drift lower is still high. So we'll keep an eye on this downside line. If it holds, then yes, we may see another round of selling, and we may see a drift even below the 54.83 zone. But for those who are more on the cautious side, and what you could do is just probably wait this one out, and of course keep an eye on this downside line, and if the commodity stays below this, we may see it drift lower. But now you could just probably keep your eyes on this key area of support here. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart. There we go. So this 54.83 zone, if we get a nice drop and at least a close of a 4-hour candle below this level, then well, I mean, this is where it could become a little bit interesting, a little bit more interesting for the sellers, as this could open the path towards the 53.70 level, which is the low of 31st of October, and we could see even further declines. But again, for now, let's see how this is going to play out here. In terms of the upside, previously I had the barrier here, the 60 mark, as our potential kind of level after a break of which we could consider the upside. Now probably would need to be lowered here a little bit towards this 57.72 70 zone here, and if we get a push above this, then yes, we will aim for the upside. But again, we'll be very careful here. We can get rid of this upside line here now, we no longer need it, but if we get a push above the 57.72, then yes, in a way it could increase the chances of a further drift higher. Ethereum. Now, I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but nevertheless, it's quite interesting. And what I was previously saying, that overall, yes, we are trading above this upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of December. But given that we were quite, well, given that the crypto has distanced itself quite a bit, let's put it that way, from this line, now you can see that it seems that this line is acting like a nice magnet for this crypto, for Ethereum, and we could be seeing a nice drift further south, so basically which we would class as a temporary correction, because as long as this upside line remains intact, the overall trend is still to the upside, or should I say the shorter term trend is still to the upside. The very short term trend, for now, it seems that it wants to continue drifting a little bit lower. You could keep an eye on this key area of support near the 158.40 zone, because if we get a strong drop below this increases the chances of a further drift lower towards this medium term, it's more of a short-term upside support line. In terms of the upside, well, first of all, let's probably put something on the chart here additional, and that's this very short-term downside resistance line. So in a way, if we get a nice pop above that, then yes, we will aim for some higher levels. You could keep an eye on some of these key barriers, and probably this one is too close still, the 163. So what you could do here is keep an eye on this little area right here near the inside swing low here of the 21st of January, and that's around the 164.60 zone. So if we get a nice push above this, this in a way could open the path back towards these highs that we saw in the first half of January, or should I say around mid-January. So yep, guys, for now it seems that it's leaning more towards the downside, but again, we need that confirmation break first before we could consider a possible move lower towards this short-term upside support line. So keep your eyes on this one. AUDUSD. So yesterday talked about this one as well, and basically we had a nice rebound from this medium-term upside support line, take it from the low of the 2nd of October, but as you can see, the pair didn't quite manage to push above the 0.6888 zone that I talked about yesterday, and for us this was the comfortable level from which we could consider a further upside, because this would place the rate above all of its EMAs here on the 4-hour chart, and then yes, we could see a further push higher. That said, I mean, you can see that it didn't reach that area, and it got held near the 50 EMA shown here as the red line and drifted back down. Now, of course, this creates a bit of a nervous atmosphere for the bulls, because again, we can see that it tested the upside line here and but failed to stay below it. So and now it's going to continue, it continues to stay above this upside line, but not far from it. So basically, long story short here, guys, first of all, let's get rid of this area, highlighted area. Now first, the main story is of course to keep an eye on some of these potential breakout points, and in terms of the downside, still the same level remains that I talked about yesterday, the 0.6823 zone. Again, if we get a nice drop here and a close of at least of a 4-hour candle, then well, we could consider further declines, because this would confirm a forthcoming lower low and more sellers could be joining in. In terms of the upside, we'll stick to the same level for now, 0.6888, because basically that's the high of this week, and if we do get a push above this, then yes, it could be quite interesting for more buyers. So keep your eyes on this one. USDJPY. Now I talked about this one yesterday as well, and my trader is Espresso. Basically what I was saying, that guys, and we already were trading below this key area of support, and previously, as you can see, it acted as a fantastic area of resistance. So we broke below this, and during my Espresso, we were trading around here, somewhere near the 109.50, somewhere around there. Basically, what I was saying, that we may see a drift further down towards the 109.39. This is what we're going to be keeping a close eye on, and we could also see a test of this 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. So as you can see, we did have a false breakout, but never even closed a 4-hour candle below this area. So this basically, all this area acted as a very good, nice area of support from which the pair rebounded and pushed higher, and this is exactly working out according to plan right now. This is what I was talking about yesterday, so we may see that rebound, and let me just shift this arrow from yesterday a little bit to the right here. There we go. So we may see a bit of a rebound, but if it struggles to push back above the 109.70 or even 109.73 zone, we will still remain somewhat bearish, and we'll continue targeting the downside. So that's why, guys, for now, keep your eyes on this barrier, the 109.70. Let's see if the pair struggles to push above it. If it struggles to do that, then yes, further declines are possible. EURGBP. I talked about this one as well in my trader's tea time yesterday, and what I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this lower side of the wider range here, near the 0.8421 zone, roughly around there. What I was saying, that if we get a nice drop below this, then well, it increases the chances of a further drift lower. So for now, they can see that yes, it is starting to drift lower. For now, what we're going to do here is, first of all, let's get rid of this arrow. So we didn't get that rebound. Initially we did get a rebound, but it didn't quite reach this area that I talked about previously, the 0.8486, because the 0.8486 is the one for us to watch in order to, let's say, consider like a correction, upside correction within this wider range. So that's why let's get rid of this line, this arrow, and for now we'll focus on the downside, because as you can see, it seems that the pair is willing to travel further south. The only thing is that keep your eyes on the 0.8391 zone, roughly around here. So previously it acted as a good area of support, and then it kind of some almost resistance. So in a way, we may see something like this, maybe a test of this area, and then maybe a small rebound. But if it struggles to push back above the 0.8421 zone, then, well, we could see another slide then to the downside. So that's why with the EURGBP, always be very careful, because it's a tricky one. It has a mind of its own. So sometimes I could even say that it's almost like a gamble, but well, actually everything is almost like a gamble, but this one particularly. So that's why, guys, for now, yes, like I said, be very careful with this one. In a way, there is a possibility for this one to drift further down, but keep your eyes on the 0.8391 zone, because also around there we do have the today's S2 of the pivot points, which also could provide some well, a bit of support. So that's why I'd be very careful around here, as we could see maybe a small rebound and a push back to the upside. But if it struggles to get back above the 0.8421 zone, then, well, we could see then another rebound, oh sorry, another slide to the downside. And the last pair for the session is going to be the euro dollar. So I talked about well, I keep talking about euro dollar during every video, but here finally, basically, we got what I was talking about yesterday, and we finally got this break below this medium-term upside support line taken from the low of the 1st of October. We got a drop below the 1.1066, and in a way, and also we had a drift further down. We retested the 1.1038 zone perfectly, maybe even actually overshot a little bit, but nevertheless we'll take it. It's a good result. So we did get our test of one of our targets. As you can see by the arrow drawn here previously, the main target for us now is the 1.0980 zone, which is the lowest point of November. So it's a good potential target, but again, we'll go step by step on this one. For now, what could happen in a way, this could drift a little bit lower, maybe get another hold up near the 1.1038, maybe 35, something like that, rebound. But then if it struggles to push back above the 1.1066 or back above this upside support line, well, I mean, this could still apply. Well, this could still apply a lot of pressure, downside pressure on the whole on Euro USD, and we could see this one drifting lower. For those who are more on the cautious side, you could just probably keep an eye on the 1.1038 zone, because if this gets broken, then, and we see a nice close of at least a 4-hour candle, then, well, it increases the chances of a further drift lower. And we do have another potential little area of support here near the not this one, but this one right here near the 1.10 zone. So the psychological 1.10 zone. This is something to keep an eye on, of course, as well. But for now, probably let's wait on that. First, let's see what it wants to do near the 1.1038. If it wants to rebound from this area, we could see this one traveling back towards the 1.1066 or somewhere around here. If it struggles to push above this, well, I mean, this is where it could become interesting for the sellers again, and we could see another slide to the downside. If it gets broken, what we could do now here is probably get rid of this this upside support line and draw a new one, which is the this other short-term downside resistance line. Now it's a bit of a tricky one here. It's a bit of a tentative one, first of all, but it comes in line perfectly with this idea that I spoke about previously about the upside, and the 1.11 18 zone. If we get a push above this, yep, this is where it could become interesting for the buyers again, because as you can see, for obvious reasons, because we do have a nice downside resistance line. This would get a break here, and we could also push above all of its EMAs here on the 4-hour chart. So that's why, guys, for now everything's kind of leaning more towards the downside. Of course, do not exclude a small but maybe potential correction, yep, we'll start targeting that 1.10 psychological 1.10 or the 1.0980 zone, which is the lowest point of November. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching until the end. If you want to join me, as always, at my traders tea time today, 14:15 GMT. For now, I hope you have a beautiful trading day, guys. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place, and I'll see you later at my traders tea time, 14:15 GMT. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.